Good morning and welcome to another TV30 episode. Today we have some special guests from the St. Lucia Sports Academy. As you know, St. Lucia has a rejuvenated appreciation for sports ever since we as a nation have captured some of the most remarkable titles. By that, I mean Julian Alfred's dominance in track and the St. Lucia Kings' unparalleled performance in cricket. In the studio today, I'm joined by three special guests from the St. Lucia Sports Academy. Mr. Anthony Lamentine, Program Director of the St. Lucia Sports Academy. Mr. Demont Monrose, Head Football Coach at the St. Lucia Sports Academy. And Mr. Gary Mathray, Head Cricket Coach at the St. Lucia Sports Academy. And I am Ms. Bernice Lewis, Communications Officer at the St. Lucia Sports Academy. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Today, our discussion is all about St. Lucia's only boarding school. Actually, the OECS's first sports boarding school. We will learn all about the ins and outs of the school. So if you're a prospective parent or a talented young athlete looking for a school to attend, stay tuned. Mr. Lamentine, please, can you start us off by explaining to us what the vision behind setting up this dedicated sports school is?
Good day, Madam Lewis, coaches, everyone else. In the role of program director, been functioning in that role for just over a year. However, this is not the first go around for me association with the St. Lucia Sports Academy. In its initial stages, the conceptualizing stage, I functioned as the chairperson of the curriculum committee. So in short, to answer your question, the vision in setting up the St. Lucia Sports Academy was to create this avenue, this opportunity to empower student athletes, to promote their growth and development, stimulate an environment and a culture of high performance. In the end, what we would be doing is to advance the careers of those student athletes as well as to forge ahead with St. Lucia Sport. Excellent.
So our aim really is to mold citizens who can positively contribute to our society. So how really does the LSA contribute to doing that so far? Can you tell us what type of student thrives in this kind of environment?
I must distinguish two important and crucial factors. First is the high level of active family support and encouragement. There is a space for the assistance and the support of families, and that is in ensuring that there is a focus and an alignment with the objective, the purpose of the St. Lucia Sports Academy, so that the student becomes increasingly engaged, makes the right decisions, and boosts performance. And the family is pivotal in this entire process. For the student athlete, a considerable effort, which is the second crucial point here, a considerable effort and emphasis has to be placed on their psycho-behaviors, their mental processes. The quote, life is 10% of what happens to you, and 90% of your reaction to this is crucial. And it highlights and emphasizes the importance of attitude and the personal responsibility in shaping lives. I don't want you to misunderstand me. Physical ability and performance, these are important. I do not want to minimize them. However, initially it is the athlete's mental skills, such as imagery or goal setting, as well as their attitudes, their emotions, their desires. These are the unforeseen qualities to success or failure. These important skills would allow for the ability to negotiate developmental challenges. We know that they are at a critical teenage years there, and maintain their motivation to achieve excellence at any level of participation. And that is regardless of his or her ability. So these are the types, this is the type of student that we would thrive in that situation, in that environment. one that is well supported by the family, a family unit, as well as one that has the drive, the mental drive and persistence, perseverance towards performance.
Mm-hmm. So mindset then and attitude and behavior is a key component in getting our athletes to succeed. So over to you, Coach Mathur. Maybe you can tell us a little more about, how you've seen that play out with your boys in your cricket component that you...
Good afternoon, first of all, Mr. Thanks for having me. Good afternoon to our wonderful viewers out there. For me, in terms of the cricket component and what I've seen, I honestly, in terms of, I get a high out of just seeing our boys be productive citizens, because it's only 1% of those boys is going to actually go out there and sort of be a professional cricketer or make the West Indies team, because those things are pretty difficult to do. But when it's not done, for me, I get a high out of ensuring or making sure that those boys are productive citizens. So for me, it's all about building the holistic individual when they come into the sports academy. We've seen quite a few players have done very, very well, especially I could talk basically for cricket. Quite a few players have excelled, and so far, in terms of those that have excelled, they have been very, very productive citizens out there. Most of them have transitioned from the sports academy into the high performance center. Some of them have gone to the Windward Islands volcanoes and are currently contracted with the Windward Islands volcanoes. Later on, I'll probably name a few in terms of who are the boys that have sort of moved on. But I do think the Sports Academy is a fantastic initiative by the government, and we want to thank them for the continued support. Mm-hmm. For in terms of the support that they're putting out for the sports. We know it's costly. It's a costly venture, and for me, I really, really do appreciate the work that's been done behind the scenes in terms of the government ensuring that this school continues to thrive and mm-hmm. continues to produce world-class athletes.
Sounds excellent. So it's pretty exciting to be at the school every day on a daily basis, right?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. We spoke about children, the rights of the children coming to the school, and I've said not every child is sort of built for that type of program, mm-hmm. and I've said, just like in terms of the personnel too, just not any sort of personnel could mm-hmm. come in there and sort of thrive, because it has its challenges, and there are a lot of sacrifices that have to be made both on the kids' part and the staff,
okay.
on the staff's part also.
So can you walk us through a typical training week for your athletes?
Typical training week. I'm not sure if the general public knows that the children actually, they stay on campus. They come in on a Sunday evening, and they stay throughout the week, where they leave on a Friday at about 2. On a Monday morning, they would get up at 5, make sure that they get their morning devotion out of the way, and then they start their conditioning in the morning. After that, they would have breakfast. And after breakfast, get dressed for school. After school is done at about 2:40, they go to their respective coaches. So cricketers would come with me. Footballers would go with Coach Monrose, and then the athletes would go with Coach Leaxner, who's not here. But yes, the children going through the rigors, especially going through the rigors of what we have. It instills discipline mm-hmm. In those guys, and we've seen kids when in the first week of coming into the sports academies, it gets a little difficult where they miss home, and some of them are a little lazy to get up because it's something that they're not used to. After a few weeks, when they get used to it, you see how much they enjoy being part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Can you give us a little more insight into your actual program with the cricket? Like, what are the skills that they work on?
Yes. In terms of skills, sometimes with our boys, I think the general public is of the view that we get the best athletes or the best cricketers, and we really, when we do our recruitment program, we get those athletes, those children from grade 6 And some of them have not even been exposed to basic grassroots cricket. And sometimes in 8 months, a year, we end up turning those very same athletes into national under 15 cricketers, and some of them national under 19 cricketers. So for us, in terms of what we do, myself and Mr. Brian Calix, who's my assistant, we really start off in terms of just the basics of cricket. We start off with the basics of them because we have the advanced, the beginners, and the advanced group. The from 4s, the from 3s to 5s are more or less in the advanced group, although some of them could be in the beginners group. But we sort of separate the two, so that we could actually sort of see if we could create an environment where the beginners are actually striving to get to the advanced, to the advanced group. That has been working for us quite well in terms of how it's been going. For us, in terms of, for me, I do a range of testing with those boys, cardiovascular, balance tests, we do strength tests, we do a whole hypothesis, so we collect that data and ensure that we review it at a later date to see whether those boys are improving or if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. But it's been working quite well. In terms of the cricket aspect, we start literally from the basics, and then we go up with it where we separate bowlers, batters, fielders do come together and do what they have to do. But I think it's a pretty intense program when they now get to when they not just come into the school and just get into the habits of doing the good things. So sometimes it's pretty difficult for them because it's not something that they're used to.
Right. So you can tell pretty quickly from Form 1 whether a child is a bowler or batter. Is that?
Well, from Form 1, most of them they tend to want to do most things. They sort of maybe from 3 thereabouts, they probably get an identity as to what they want to do. Maybe a bowler, a batter, all rounder. But sometimes the coaches have to step in and sort of almost in a manner let them know, listen, I think you're better at bowling, and I think if you continue taking your bowling a lot more seriously, although we try to take all 3 components seriously, but sometimes you see in what area that they're more talented and you want to push them into that area so that they could hone their skills a lot better there.
Great, thank you. Coach Monrose, we know that both the under-19 and the under-16 football teams from SLSA captured the coveted winning title. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you tell us what was the biggest contributor to the athlete success for your teams?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'd like to say thanks for being here. It's hard to give one reason. So apart from their technical, their physical, and their mental preparation, one of the main reasons was the momentum management, where we control the pace of the game, the direction of the game, and the rhythm of the game. It gives the team a psychological advantage against the opponents.
That was phenomenal. The SLSA boys came in and within 5 minutes they had already scored against Leon Hess. I thought that was exceptional. Congratulations again. What do you expect in terms of discipline, punctuality, and attitude for the student athletes?
Well, under discipline, we expect consistency at training, self-control, consistency at training, self-control, and following the rules for punctuality, time management. So stuff like sorry.
Continue. Just
so time management.
Just general behavior.
Yeah, general behavior, etc.
And we know that now with our young children, I'm not too sure if it's Gen Z or Alpha, it's very hard to be able to, control or manage them because they have short attention spans and they're more strong-willed than, us when we were growing up. We listened to our parents. Mommy said this, we did that. Yeah. But now children ask us, why? Why should I? I don't want to. They say exactly what's on their mind. Do you get that a lot with your footballers? And how do you manage that level of autonomy that they want to have?
Well, I don't get it much at my sessions because we have a lot of players.
Understand.
Yeah, if we had like one team, everybody would have the mindset that I've already made the team. So because they have to compete, they have to be at a certain level. Yeah.
Nice, nice, excellent. Coach Mathre, what has been one of your proudest moments as a coach at this school? Maybe earlier you alluded to the fact that you had some really great success stories. Can you name for us?
Yeah, just before that, in terms of, I just want to touch on the question
definitely.
in terms of the discipline. I think since Mr. Lamentine has come in as the program director, there are several things that he's put in place that ensures that the kids stay in line as to what we should be doing or should not be doing. With our program. It's given us some really great ideas, and it has been working, especially as it pertains to punctuality, as it pertains to discipline. We've been able to get a better grip on those on the children in terms of how we've went about implementing those things that he's put in place. I think it's working for my program. I think it's worked fantastically well. It's a situation where we ensure that I think when the kids come in, also they're given contracts, and I'm not sure that the general public again knows about those things. So they're given contracts, whether it be a academic contract, there's a cricket contract, a sporting contract, and I think there's one for conditioning, and I think that is reviewed after a year. And for instance, if you come into the sports academy and you're exposed to training every single day, for me, I feel that you're supposed to look different. You're supposed to look different. You're supposed to look fit. You're supposed to look well built, a lot disciplined. Just knowing what you're about. As soon as somebody sees you, they could tell that you are from the sports academy or you come from the sports academy because of what you're being put through on a daily basis.
Right.
We've had, I think in terms of, we have our own gym. So. And we've been able, again, with Mr. Lamentine, to sort of gather or get some new equipment. And then we have a nice launch in September when we reopen with some new equipment. I'm excited about that. I'm certainly sure Mr. Monroe, the kids are actually very much excited about using the new gym and actually seeing that change in their bodies. So for me, in terms of discipline, I do think that we've been able to get a very good grip on things. In terms of, I preach quite a bit to those children that when they're out there, they're actually representing not only themselves, but they're representing the school. So certain ways that they're going to behave will impact how people see the school or just the school in general. Just going back to your question, for me, we've had quite a bit of guys come from the sports academy that has done fantastically well. We've had Tariq Edward, who has gone as a cricketer, who played the World Cup a year ago or 2 years ago, the West Indies on the 19 World Cup in South Africa, and he was a key figure in West Indies, winning some pivotal games over in South Africa. So he's one of them that's made huge strides. He's also part of the High Performance Center. You have guys like Keon Gaster, who has come into the school now. He's contracted with the Windward Islands Volcanoes. He played in the Breakout League, the West Indies Breakout League that just concluded recently. And he just got selected on the St. Lucia Kings team. He just got drafted on the St. Lucia Kings team. I personally am super proud of that. I'm certainly sure the school is super proud of Keon. We also have Noel Leo, who's actually contracted with the Windward Islands Volcanoes, and they actually reside in St. Vincent, because that's where the Windward Islands Volcanoes team resides now. So for me, and then we have quite a bit of athletes who have not gone. Theo Edward, who has been making some huge strides cricket-wise. We have guys like Kevin Gassi, Royce Paul. A lot of those guys are involved with the HPC straight out of the Sports Academy. Matter of fact, if you look at the HPC with the contracted players that they have right now, if they have 11 contracted players, out of 11 or 12 contracted players, you have 7 of those players that come from the Sports Academy that's actually involved with the HPC. So we have quite a few players who've been making some strides. Currently at the school we have at least 5 national players, ranging from the under 15s to the under 19s. So we've been able to feed the respective age groups with national players, and I think that's one of the things that the sports academy should be about, being able to feed players of high quality to the respective national teams.
Yes, and I believe football also has quite a few
Very much
players
so.
on the national team. Coach Monroe is going to
Yeah.
tell us about.
Well, in the just recent concluded under 16 competition, 9 of the players were called up for trials. I think yesterday was their final training session, and the team was decided. Not too sure which ones made it as yet, but I'm confident at least 5 or 6 of them would be part of that national team.
All right, and for you, who has been your biggest success story coming from the St. Lucia Sports Academy?
Well, one of my biggest success stories would be Imani Butcher, who graduated last year. Last year he was the youngest national player, youngest player to make a national team at 16. He got the youngest best player for the Black Hat, for the Pro League also. Presently he's in Germany. Hopefully he'll be successful in signing for a club up there.
Yes. So we do have a lot of talent in St. Lucia. It's quite obvious. I mean, we have a former international cricketer sitting right here with us. I know there are accolades for the other panelists right here, well, I won't discuss right now. However, the St. Lucia Sports Academy has made some great strides in the last 5 years that we have been open. So I know the school has had considerable strides in track and field as well, because we have Naya Jules coming from last year's cohort of graduates, and she's on a scholarship to the States. The year before, she captured gold at the pole vault in character, and this year she captured silver. So we're super proud of her on the athletic side of things. The St. Lucia Sports Academy is basically a testament to the fact that an athlete who is disciplined, motivated, and driven can achieve great things.
Yes.
So, we were due for a short break, but we'll continue. Over to you, Mr. Lamentine. Sure. What are your long-term goals for the program?
I wouldn't say my long-term goals. I would say our long-term goal. Our long-term goal would be to output a student athlete that is comparable to the rest of the world. That the distinguishing qualities, one with reasonably high performances in academics, reasonably high level of behavior patterns, an athlete that is driven, that is well shaped as an athlete, fitness and conditioning, and that can go on to contribute to the sporting landscape in St. Lucia. But I must add, before that, I think we sometimes understand the long-term goal, but we need to chart our way from start towards that long-term goal. And if you look at major institutions, for example, a kind of Carnival in St. Lucia and Jazz, you would find that there are listed a number of stakeholders who come together to ensure that these events and these institutions are successful year after year. Similarly, after 5 years, it is time for us to get back to the drawing board and for major stakeholders involved in education and the development of student athletes to get on board and come together for us to be able to realize those goals. We're talking about the Ministry of Education. We're talking about the Ministry of Sports. We're talking about the Ministry of Health. We're talking about the St. Lucia Olympic Committee. We're referring to the national lotteries and the national sports governing bodies. We need to come on board. We need to come together and make this institution a national phenomenon in St. Lucia. And with that approach from start, holding each other accountability, contributing to the various processes, we are indefinitely going to experience a very high level of success, personally for the student athlete and as a nation.
Yes, I quite concur, because we have over the years seen St. Lucia get into crime. Our crime rates have been very high, unemployment rates have been very high, and that has been a national plague for us for a few years now. So with the advent of the St. Lucia Sports Academy, we can target those students who are not, whose main aim is not academics, but really they're talented in other areas, specifically sports. And for us, this is quite a great initiative. And I am very happy to have been part of the St. Lucia Sports Academy for the short time that I've been here. And I think we, as you said, Mr. Lamontan, I agree, we need the private sector, we need the public sector to drive the support for the St. Lucia Sports Academy and make this even bigger than it is right now. Our numbers are at 105. CPA results are coming out, I believe, next week, July 1st. And so we're appealing to parents who see the value, because we all know here the value, we know the value that the St. Lucia Sports Academy is providing to our nation. And we would like to appeal to parents who have students or children with that natural talent, that natural raw talent, to apply to the St. Lucia Sports Academy, because you can make it on a world stage, just like Julian Alfred. So parents, if you're interested, in a little while we will give you those numbers and email addresses so that you can inquire some more. But any last words as we wrap up, Coach Monrose or Coach Mathre, on how our grade sixers, the parents of the current grade sixers who are going to be choosing, well, they've chosen their schools, but really it's not until September or August when they really decide, am I really going to that school that I've been assigned? You don't have to go to a school that you assigned. What is the best place for you? So what are our last words for them?
For me, I just think, like I said earlier, I think it's a fantastic and a wonderful initiative by the government. And we just heard Mr. Lamontine's appeal to the necessary stakeholders in order for us to make this thing a world-class phenomenon. Like I said, we've seen the results of what we've been able to produce in such a short time. So just far less if we get that sort of support from those necessary stakeholders, I do think the Sports Academy would be something for quite a few people to envy. And sometimes when I travel and do my coaching out of St. Lucia, and then the other coaches ask me where do I work, and I let them know about the Sports Academy. There's so much envy in terms of them wanting that very same thing in their island, and I think it's something that we should sort of support a lot more down here, because we sort of have a gold mine down here, and we need to sort of invest in it very, very heavily, because if you're not investing in your youth, who else are you going to invest in? So just for the parents, just for the parents out here who are sort of in between or caught up in sort of making a choice or deciding where to send your kids. If your kid is good in cricket, football, or athletics, SLSA is the place to be. That is the best place to be on island if you want your kid to sort of succeed at whatever sport that he chooses. We try to ensure that we try to get them to balance the academics, which is a very, very essential component for us at the Sports Academy. We take it very, very seriously in ensuring that they take their schoolwork as serious as they're taking their respective sports, because the smarter an athlete is, the less headache he gives the coach on the field, and the quicker he moves on in their respective career.
Now you said he, but does
He
that
and
also?
she.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So, how does one get more information if they need to? Well, we will have. We're on Instagram and Facebook, St. Lucia Sports Academy. You can just type that in. Our email, stluciasportsacademy@gmail.com. So that is St. Lucia spelled out. The St. Lucia Sports Academy, as Mr. Mathur mentioned, is actually the place to be. So interested parents can contact us at telephone number 450-0738 or 724-6963 to register for the upcoming school year. I'd like to thank our phenomenal panelists and the Government Information Service for making this interview possible. I just have to add just the last plug-in that St. Lucia Sports Academy does focus on academics. Our students have to do a minimum of 5 subjects, so it's the whole Monty. The school is no different from any secondary school on island. So we are looking forward to our new cohort for the 2026 academic year. So parents, we'll be waiting for those calls. Thank you very much, panelists.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lamontagne.
So you're not shaking my hand.